You heard it right. The same Jake Paul who was recently talking about.
Boxing experts have slammed Jake Paul after his latest stunt, just when many expected the YouTuber-turned-boxer to dial it back with the biggest fight of his career approaching. Known for his brash personality and reckless behavior, Jake has once again landed himself in serious trouble. With so much on the line, the fight community had hoped he would tone down his antics, but Jake being Jake, he went too far. His latest outburst of verbal tirade has angered the boxing world, leaving many infuriated. But the drama didn't stop there. In a shocking turn of events, Jake was actually cuffed and taken into custody, a move that sent waves through the fight world. Fans and experts alike are now buzzing with speculation, and the community isn't happy. With his controversial persona backfiring, questions are mounting about how this could impact his future in the sport. Jake Paul is definitely feeling the heat, as boxing legends and pros like Floyd Mayweather, Joe Rogan, and Michael Bisping aren't holding back their thoughts. Experts are having a field day, slamming Jake left and right for his dirty tactics and recent arrest. It seems like Jake just can't help himself. First, he took verbal jabs at the legendary Mike Tyson, a move that screams, "I have no idea what I'm doing," as if that wasn't bad enough. He then managed to land himself in legal trouble getting arrested while surfing on a lake. Now the boxing community is calling him out, and the backlash is only getting louder. The fight world has had enough of Jake Paul, who's become famous for all the wrong reasons. Let's start with Joe Rogan, a massive fan of Mike Tyson. If there's one thing Rogan knows, it's that no one messes with Tyson, a beast both in and out of the ring. So when Jake decided to pick a fight with Iron Mike, Joe was quick to send a clear warning this will end badly, really badly. Rogan didn't hold back, stating that Jake was playing with fire. Let's be honest, Tyson is the last person you want to provoke if you value your career or your face. With years of fight experience, Joe made it clear that Jake is poking a sleeping giant, and the outcome won't be pretty. Back off or face the consequences seems to be the message Joe Rogan is sending to Jake Paul. Rogan made it clear that Jake is playing with fire by messing with Mike Tyson, someone you just don't want to provoke. According to Joe, this won't end well for Jake. But Rogan isn't the only one weighing in. Boxing legend Oscar de la Hoya has also spoken up, and it's not looking good for Jake. De la Hoya criticized Jake's recent controversies, stating that his actions are dragging the sport through the mud. He didn't mince words, calling Jake's antics embarrassing and unprofessional. According to de la Hoya, if Jake wants to be taken seriously in boxing, he needs to start acting like a professional, not a YouTube prankster. With all his years in the sport, de la Hoya has seen it all, and he's far from impressed by Jake's behavior. His message is clear: if Jake wants to be a legitimate contender, he needs to clean up his act fast. Then there's Michael Bisping, who's never been shy about his disdain for Jake Paul. From day one, Bisping has been vocal about his dislike, and with Jake's latest fiasco, he's jumping in to tear him apart once again. Bisping pointed out that Jake's recent behavior only confirms what he's been saying all along: Jake isn't cut out for professional boxing. According to Bisping, Jake seems more focused on staying in the headlines for all the wrong reasons than becoming a true champion. And honestly, with everything happening, it's hard to disagree with him. Jake's antics are overshadowing any serious potential he might have in the sport. Let's not forget Floyd Mayweather, who's also calling Jake Paul out. From the beginning, Mayweather has been skeptical of Jake's boxing career, and now he's not holding back. Floyd previously mentioned that Jake might not survive against a seasoned pro, and with Jake's recent arrest and all the drama, it looks like Floyd might be right. Jake doesn't even need to step into the ring for a veteran fighter to end his career. It might already be happening. Mayweather, who built his legacy on being undefeated, knows what it takes to stay on top. And let's face it, Jake's recent behavior is the complete opposite of what a true champion would do. Floyd's message is clear: if Jake doesn't shape up, his time in the sport will be short-lived. The boxing community is united in their stance. Jake Paul's behavior is not what they want in the sport. These aren't just random critics. These are some of the most respected names in boxing, people who've dedicated their lives to the sport and know what it takes to succeed. When they speak, the boxing world listens. And right now, they're all saying the same thing: Jake needs to clean up his act, or he'll find himself out of the fight game for good. It's wild to think that his career could end before it truly begins. Just a few years ago, Jake Paul was making headlines for his wild antics on YouTube, and now he's in the news for all the wrong reasons in the boxing world. But here's the thing, boxing isn't like YouTube. You can't script your way to the top. This is a sport that demands discipline, respect, and hard work, and right now Jake's showing none of that. Let's be real, the fight world didn't have much respect for Jake to begin with. Why? Because Jake built his boxing career by knocking out washed-up athletes and retired NBA players. Sure, the knockouts might look impressive on paper. Jake Paul course another opponent, but when you dig deeper, you realize these wins don't mean much. His opponents weren't seasoned pros, and they were far past their prime. The boxing community sees right through it, and now with his recent controversies, Jake's reputation is hanging by a thread. Jake Paul has never truly been tested in the ring against a legitimate top-tier fighter. He's been dodging real competition like it's a game of dodgeball, and the fight world sees right through it. The one time Jake did step into the ring with a real boxer, Tommy Fury, it didn't end well for him. Tommy handed Jake his first career loss, a reality check Jake probably wasn't ready for. Coming from a family of fighters, Tommy wasn't about to let Jake's hype train roll over him. That fight was the first time Jake faced someone who wasn't an over-the-hill MMA veteran or a basketball player with no boxing experience. It was a humbling experience for Jake, one that showed he still has a lot to prove in the boxing world. Jake Paul couldn't handle the pressure in his last real test, taking a tough loss that wasn't pretty. Now, mark your calendars, because on November 15th at T Arena, Jake is stepping into the ring for what's being billed as the biggest fight of his career against none other than Mike Tyson. The hype for this match is off the charts, and it's not just fans who are excited. Even Netflix is set to capture every punch, dodge, and jaw-dropping moment of what's shaping up to be the biggest fight of the year. This isn't a joke. Mike Tyson is Jake's first real contender, and it doesn't get more serious than facing Tyson. At his peak, Tyson was one of the most feared fighters in the world, and now Jake has to face that legacy head-on. Mike Tyson's name is synonymous with raw power, speed, and ferocity. He's a living legend who revolutionized the sport and became a boxing icon. Jake Paul might have knocked out a few MMA fighters and retired athletes, but now he's stepping into the ring with a bona fide boxing great. This isn't just another match, it's a test to see if Jake can hang with the best, or if he's been out of his depth all along. A lot of boxing pros and pundits are calling this an epic mismatch, and it's easy to see why. On one hand, we have a 27-year-old YouTuber turned boxer who only started boxing a few years ago. While Jake has some wins under his belt, they're against opponents far from Tyson's caliber. This fight will reveal whether Jake can truly compete at the highest level. Jake Paul's wins have mostly come against opponents who weren't exactly at the top of their game. Now, he's up against a 58-year-old boxing legend who has faced some of the best fighters in history and dominated the sport during his prime. Even though Tyson is older, he remains a formidable force. His experience, technique, and sheer power are levels above anything Jake has ever encountered. It's like pitting a rookie against a Hall of Famer, and it's tough to see how this ends well for Jake. But boxing is unpredictable. Anything can happen when these two step into the ring. Maybe Jake has a few tricks up his sleeve that we haven't seen yet. Maybe Tyson, despite his legendary status, shows signs of age. Or maybe we're about to witness a reality check for Jake Paul of epic proportions. Only time will tell what will unfold on fight night, but one thing is certain: everyone will be watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We'll have to wait and see how this blockbuster match turns out. So there you have it, fight fans. What do you think about the boxing experts calling out Jake Paul? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more boxing news. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.